Driving the culture forward. This is Hype Beast Radio. My name is Ben Rosen. Today we are sitting down with sneaker customizer, footwear designer. You also do clothing now, I think, as well. Pittsburgh native John Geiger is in the building. How you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for having me. I'm good.
Yeah, it's been a busy couple weeks for you. I think you've been on kind of like a tour around. You went to Japan, you said. What's kind of been going on? You've been doing a lot of like retail openings?
Yeah, I just launched in Barney's, Japan. A couple other doors in Japan, boutiques, S Nation, but the bigger one was Barney's. We started in Japan. It's going to lead over into New York and LA. But yeah, it's been on the road.
Yeah, and you've been kind of, this has been sort of the culmination, I think, or like the legitimization of what you've been doing for a really long time, which is, if we could explain it probably for people that might not be aware, is like designing custom and kind of like almost like customized and cut up sneakers, right? And how long have you been doing that now? Because I've seen you on the internet for a while.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So number one, what you just said is kind of like what I want people to understand, because the word customizer now is kind of like frowned upon in the industry. So it's like, how do you get out of that into not just like painting shoes or, you know, changing something, but actually having your own. But yeah, that's the route that I wanted to go. And definitely forgot the question you just asked.
No, but I mean, how did you get started? How long have you been doing it? Especially like using,
I want to say the customizing stuff probably since a kid, you know.
Right.
My mom tells a story to this day that when I was in 4th grade, I lived in Bloomfield. It's right inside of Pittsburgh, a small town. It was like Little Italy. And I used to ride a bike to a guy's name. His name was Bucky's, and he was like a cobbler. Mm-hmm. And I would take like Air Force Ones there with like camo print and have them like sew it on the swoosh and on the front of the shoe. And that was 4th grade. So
what year is that even? That's like way before this was.
I go by my time when I was younger. It goes by like Biggie and Tupac. Right, so I remember I was in 5th grade when Tupac. 4th grade when Tupac, 5th grade when Biggie.
Oh wow. Okay. So
yeah.
You're in the 90s, you're doing that kind of customization thing, and then you start doing it and it picks up traction a couple of years back, right?
Yeah, like 2013.
And it starts to gather steam with the Misplaced Checks. I think that would probably be the game-changing moment. Yep. And so what kind of happened surrounding that shoe?
Right before that, I got to work on a Nike shoe, the Nike Zoom Revis. And I tell people all this time, I never said that I designed it. I'm not, one of those people that try to take credit. But I was sat in those meetings, and I gave my input, and I got royalties for sales. So shortly after that project, I thought I was like full. I thought I was the foot in the door. Like I would send ideas, a ton of ideas, and a lot of the things I would send were like something crazy. And they would always tell me like, we would never reposition a swoosh. We would never, make too many swooshes on a shoe. We would never do that. So I think maybe like a couple months into that, me trying to feed ideas, I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go do it myself somewhere.
Yeah. Kind of show them.
Yeah. Not even that. I just wanted when you have ideas, and I don't know if you've been in that position, but if you have ideas, kind of like bothers you for a while if you don't like get it out.
Yeah. So, it's like an itch you can't scratch kind of situation. Yep. And so you put it out, and there's like, I remember there was sort of like this big kind of like interest in it. I think a lot of people were kind of like, how do I get these? But how limited were they? Because you were doing it at the time. I think this is
it also was big at time because no one was changing something and like selling it like large amounts, right? It was always like, you tell me what you want and I'll make it for you. It was never like it was gonna make a shoe and then release it. So it was kind of like the first of its kind in a sense. But the first one was like 35 pairs because I had no idea what type of sales I could do, and I had 35 pairs and they were gone in like a minute.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you
were
all of that.
At that time they were $550.
$550 for a pair.
Yep.
And you've managed to get those costs down since then, or where are they?
Yeah. You find your way eventually, but the first time they were $550. I mean, we still sell them for $550. The kids are $250.
Right. And we were talking about the kids ones because now there's this like interest where it's like
there's a huge interest in kids,
which is like the most surprising thing, because again, like we were talking about it, like, if you buy a pair of sneakers for a kid, they fit for like a week, and people are willing to buy your Misplaced Check sneakers in miniature. Mm-hmm. So what's been like? You've also put out your own line of shoes recently. What was kind of the idea behind that? Was that kind of
during the process of like doing the customize and having the releases? My business partner now, Sean Davis, he's also an NBA agent. He came to me and was just like, instead of changing Nikes all the time, have you ever thought about just making your own shoe? And I've had sketches like stored to just of ideas that I can maybe like switch some stuff on a Nike shoe, but I never thought like, hey, I can go find like a sole supplier and then, you know, get someone to build the upper and do the whole shebang. And like a week after that, he was like, start working on the sole, because I didn't want to use like the sole that everybody else uses, like a Margom or something like that. You know, Balenciaga, Common Projects all use the same sole. A lot of people don't know that. So it's like a pre-manufactured sole where you just go and like pick a color, put your name on the back of it, and then build an upper.
Gotcha.
I wanted to build a sole, and my whole thing for the 001, which is the first model, was I was wearing like, I liked high-end shoes like Balenciagas and stuff like that, and they were expensive. They were just uncomfortable to me, like the Futures. And then I would wear Jordans and everybody would have them. So the 001 model was, for me, was like on the box, it says medium, because it's like combining the two. So if you combine like super high materials, but it still look like a sneaker, that's why it has an air bladder in it. Like I wanted to combine those two, and that's basically what we did. But that was the like halfway through the Misplaced Check releases, I started on the sole, and not until 2 years after that we launched.
Wow. So it took a lot of research and development and kind of like ironing out the fine details and stuff.
Lost money.
Yeah. And prototyping and all that.
Yeah.
And so when you roll out the original stuff, there's been a lot of interest in that. It
was a slow build.
It was a slow burn?
But I like it.
So what differentiated that from like the Misplaced Checks?
Misplaced Checks my shoes would sell out. The 001s would sell out, but it wouldn't be, you know, everybody would pick it up and talk about it and, you know, post pictures about it. It was the Misplaced Checks, something about custom Nike shoes that everybody loves. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like I was the underdog and people loved that. They would sell out, but it was a slow burn into, you know, we're 1 year and 1 month. Now I'm into retailers like Barney's, which is very good, but
yeah, I mean, it's like, it sounds like a slow burn, but it's also like, it's only a year.
Yeah. But like I said, I like the slow burn just because I don't like to build something off of hype, right? Because if you build it off of hype, it's only the last couple of years. If I build it off of slow burns, like what's the next? You know, the 002s are coming in a couple months. So it's like a slow build up to like that.
Gotcha.
So like a full footwear brand.
Yeah, so you're going to build out a roster of shoes for that. And you've also got, and I wanted to bring this up because I feel like this is a completely separate thing, is Diet starts Monday. You have your own like clothing line too, right? So and that's based, I think you mentioned, with your business partner, right? Is it your guys' project?
So on the John Geiger side, it's me and Sean Davis. There's some other people involved, but that's the majority of it. It's all like in-house. Didn't take any investors. It's all built in-house. On the Diet starts Monday side was... at this time last year, I had met with, remember like Premium Co?
Yeah.
Like the Boucle?
Yeah.
So Davin Gentry, who owns Premium Co, was at my house in Miami, and he was just like, how come you never done clothes? And I was like, I really wanted to do clothes, but I wanted to do like cut and sew and make it all like official, because I've been working on my footwear so long. And he was like, I can help you with this. Like, what would you want to do? He was like, would you want me to be behind the scenes? And I'm like, no, let's just be partners. Let's like do it. And he was like, what? I remember sitting at the table and he was like, what do you want to call it? And I was like, Diet Starts Monday. And it was just like, it was like bang. It was like, he didn't ask any questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it made so much sense. It's Diet Starts Monday is based off procrastination and basically putting things off. We always say like, you know, homework or working out, I'll do it Monday, I'll do it Monday, I'll do it Monday. There's a thing saying like Monday never comes and our direction is no direction. So it's kind of like, it's a play on words. It's blowing up. People love it. Yeah. We have a restaurant, retail and bar in DC.
Really?
Next Thursday is next Cinco de Mayo is our 1 year anniversary next week, 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now is our 1 year anniversary. We have that. And then we do online sales every Monday for 24
Makes
hours.
Sense. Yeah. Okay. So,
and it's kind of crazy because we're leading up to this. I want to say this name, but I'm not trying to say we're the same as them. But Supreme, you know, on Thursdays at 11 a.m. people go there.
Yeah.
Sundays at midnight, our sales will be from like midnight to 2 a.m. We'll be like out the door because it's like people know to come there at midnight.
Right. So it's like they're actually paying attention and they're following along. Yep. So you've built this kind of like, I would say that a lot of it has to do with social media because I think
100%.
Right. I think there's like people posting the pictures of their kids wearing the Misplaced Checks is like proof of that concept. But at the same time, like one running theme is it's like you're the self-starter. You're kind of like doing it even if you're putting it off till Monday. What has been like one of the frustrating things? What is like the issue? Like what's difficult to scale? Because like it sounds like you've got a lot on your plate. What are some of the challenges that you've run into?
Trying to be everywhere at once. My biggest thing is, you just said I'm on a tour. It's like I live in Miami. I'm currently moving to LA next month. So in the process of that, I like to be everywhere. So it's trying to be, I like really being hands-on, especially with the footwear. Like I go in my warehouse every time I can. Just being everywhere is probably my downfall. Giving other people jobs that, handing jobs off.
And what's like from a business end, because I've seen, like, I think that like Hypebeast covers a lot of these like really kind of like up and coming brands where they're literally being run by between, like you said, like 2 and 5 people maybe. Like what are some of the business kind of like, is there like, why is supply such a tough thing? You know what I mean? What is the manufacturing hiccup that happens?
On the John Geiger side, I mean, I take care of like the design, obviously the designs and production and stuff like that, because I need to be hands-on until it gets like a larger, we can hand it off to somebody. But we now have, Sean handles the business side. We have collabs with Sprint. We have collabs with Forgiato about to come. We have a collab with McLaren about to come. So those 3 I've turned down, and we turned down 1 million collabs because we want to stay in that high end, like those names. On the diet side, we have a third partner, Scooty, who lives in DC. He's more of like the planning and the events for like, he has planned out for Cinco de Mayo, We're only open from Thursday to Sunday at the space, and then Monday's online. So he plans out all that. So we have like a team built. We're gradually bringing people on. One of the funny things is when I was going to do this, they were like, do you have a PR that we can talk to? And I don't want to have one. Yeah. So it's all like in-house.
I feel like all of the communications that we've ever had with you for this show.
It's like me or Sean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like it's like there's no superstructure around it, which is really good.
And I feel like, I want to like throw anybody on the bus, but I feel like until you're at like a superstardom, like all this, like my assistant will do it. Call my assistant. Like you don't need that stuff, right? Because I'm not gonna connect with you the way that I want to. Yeah. Like when we released in Barney's in Japan, I didn't have to go. I could have sent shoes and we could have the same release. They could have sold out. But me going was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be hands-on.
Yeah. I feel like there's like, and we've talked about this with other people in this show when we try to like schedule this stuff. And then, one of the challenges of getting like bigger people, for example, is that like you have to go through a publicist, and a publicist is usually someone that works at an agency. They're like 35 years old. They live in Hollywood. They don't hang around here. You know what I mean? Like they don't hang around like Mercer and Soho. And so they would never know. But it's like a lot of their clients are younger people in Hollywood that actually are very much interested in this stuff. Like we can't really name the names because we don't want to blow their spot up. But it's like literally just like for most people, it's like don't let your publicist decide what's cool. Yeah. Because if you're fucking with it personally, you'll probably make some time in your schedule for it, Yeah. And that's been kind of like one of those
That's
things.
Exactly. You pretty much nailed it.
Yeah. It's just like don't let your publicist tell you what's cool. Like that would be one of my lessons to tell people.
After I did Deezus and Mero, we've had a million PR firms be like, hey, we should take over, and be like, listen, I've done all this stuff.
And you did that personally with Deezus.
Yeah, because I'm cool with Deezus. Yeah. Just he's always sent them some sneakers. We have always on contact. Iman Shumpert did his show during Fashion Week, and I went with him. And then he was like, "Hey, next time you're in New York, would you hop on?" I'm like, "Shit, yeah,
for sure." I mean, those guys are fucking
and
excellent.
Like one of my favorite shows. So
yeah, they're fucking brilliant. Yeah. And then one of my other questions is, you mentioned that you had been brought in to do these meetings with Nike. Is there ever like a situation besides the Misplaced Checks where it's like you do a meeting with them and then kind of like something's rejected or blown off and you see it kind of come up later? Does that happen? Like, because that happens with like me with media stuff. You know what I mean?
I think right now is a very touchy time to talk about it because of everything that's coming out. Sure. Everything that, and I don't say this any time to like be cocky or anything like that, but a lot of stuff that I've put out is coming out, right? Or something like it. So it's one of the things where it's like, if I didn't have my own footwear line, I kind of be a little bit like
salty.
Yeah, salty, but I can't be because I'm doing very well for myself, Right. But I feel like eventually myself and Nike are gonna have to work together. It's a no-brainer. Yeah. I'm not sure why it hasn't happened yet. Those classes and stuff like that, the only thing that I asked them was let me be involved, and they wouldn't. So not real sure.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a as yet.
Yeah.
Wow. So
it's not like I want to throw them under the bus.
No.
One, because I wouldn't do that, and two is just like people do it for me.
Sure.
Like
Instagram commenters see it.
People see it every day, so it's like it's not really something I have to say anymore.
And you probably see those too. Like you can probably like tell when people are like, "Yo, man, like this looks a little similar to something."
Yeah, like when I won't say it's Travis Scott shoes, but we'll say like the All-Star pack. Like that was my name got
like the
added
swap.
on. Yeah. So that was kind of like I didn't need to say anything because people said it for me.
Right. Yeah, I feel like that's been kind of like the one of the things that has come up time and again, like even like these like Kanye tweets where he's going off. He's like, man, like everybody is obsessed with getting credit for their ideas. Yeah. But I guess it's almost like one of those things where you're saying like it's inevitable that like I'll get the reply where it's like, I mean,
I used to like be mad about it, but then I started realizing like I didn't have to say anything.
If other people did it for you, you kind of just had to sit
our
back.
Times are so like you could release something this week and people could forget about the next week because our times are so like fast. Mm-hmm. But I think with that was like it stayed in people's minds. I mean, I'll do a release every once in a while just because so many people ask about them. Mm-hmm. That's why I do the releases still, and that's something like I'm known for. So it's not really like I don't think anything wrong with it, but people still love the shoe.
Yeah, and when you're rolling, and you mentioned you're trying to roll out a wider range of footwear. What's sort of like the goal? What's like what's your roster look like? Would you do like how would you do it? Do you do like collaborations with just the brand so far? Or are you trying to find like more like athletes, or what's the route that you're going in? Because it seems like very much a lifestyle shoe.
Yeah, it's the 001 model. I've had numerous athletes and musicians wear them. Leading into like the 002, I started working on the 002 like a year ago today. So we're gonna roll that out and we're just gonna go for it. You know, the 001's now catching on. You start learning the materials that people like. People really like the leather. So I'll keep rolling those out. Our collabs are gonna be rolled out and then roll the 002 out. 003 just started last week. Mm-hmm. So like sampling. So that will be like a low, like a runner. So, you know, start going. One thing I'm trying not to do is like, I've never like put anything out because of what's in. I would like put out stuff that I like and what I think I like. Sometimes I feel like it's ahead of what's going on, but that also could like hurt you eventually.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wanted to shift gears and change it to the Pittsburgh angle for a second. Mm-hmm. What was it like to come out of Pittsburgh and all of a sudden be involved in streetwear and fashion? Because I feel like it's not always, it's not really near the center of that. I wear Pittsburgh Pirate hats every day. Yeah. When I leave here, I'm going to New Era because I have a Pirates collab coming. So, I mean, being from Pittsburgh, that's where I grew up. I'm excited about it. I'm excited where it's going there. There's some younger people coming up that are like doing some stuff fashion. One actually just moved to New York. But being from Pittsburgh, there wasn't, you know musicians like Mac or Wiz, Andy Warhol's from Pittsburgh. A lot of people know that. There's not many people like in those arts that are like, you know, fashion, art in that area coming out of there. So when people know that I'm from Pittsburgh, it's pretty cool. Yeah, and our producers asked us to get something spicy and like a hot take out of this episode. Okay. So my question for anybody from the tri-state area that I always want to find out is, is it Sheets or Wawa?
Sheets.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. We don't have Wawas in Pittsburgh.
You don't have a Wawa?
Yeah, I go to Pittsburgh tomorrow morning, and I'm going to get lunch with my mom. And the places we go get lunch, it's like there's like 5 Sheets in that area.
Are you serious?
There's no Wawas.
That's
in
crazy.
Pittsburgh. Wawa's more like
because like literally, I just
a little bit Ohio or like West Virginia. West Virginia will say Wawas.
I'm literally like I'm planning on taking a road trip to go to the closest Wawa because there's not one here, and I've never heard anybody prefer Sheets, and I guess that's a Pittsburgh thing.
Yeah, we don't have any.
Do you know what Sheets is, Jade?
You know what Permanis is?
Wait, what?
Permani sandwiches?
No.
You don't know what Permani sandwiches?
No.
Do you know what Betos is?
No.
Wow. You know Betos pizza. They're squares. They cook. They bake the bread in the sauce, and then they put cold toppings on. But the toppings are like stacked like this. So like cheese, pepperoni is all
it's
cold.
Like a tower, basically.
Yeah, it's all
pizza.
cold, and you eat the bottom hot, crispy.
Damn.
Yeah, it's called Betos.
Is that in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, it's in Pittsburgh. And then Permani sandwiches is I can't believe you never heard Permani sandwiches.
I don't know a whole lot about Pittsburgh in
general.
Like I was born in Pennsylvania, so like I know a little bit about that, and then like grew up elsewhere. So like I know a little bit. Yeah. I always grew up going to Wawa like every fucking day, dude. That was like my thing.
They don't have any Sheets there?
I don't know. I feel like I drove by them. I definitely drove by them as a kid, but I never was like my family was so Wawa centric. Yeah. Like it was like I had a deadhead uncle who would go to like get hoagies at Wawa. Like,
hoagies.
Yeah, exactly. See, I know that much, man. And that's so you like you said we've got Barney's in Japan. And what is stateside? What can people look out for? What should people?
Direct to consumer right now. I'm a big online guy. Obviously, that's how I got started. Yeah. I do very well that way. The fact that I can do that, it helps because I get to pick and choose what retailer I want to do. I probably will be doing more pop-ups in Pittsburgh, in the U.S.
And in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
look out for that.
Probably not Pittsburgh, but yeah. But yeah, we have meetings at Barney's for New York and L.A., so that's gonna be good.
And you mentioned that you kind of like made your first foray into this online and stuff. Has that been like the bread and butter? Is e-commerce like still very much like your shit as a sneaker guy?
Yeah. With our times that like so many people are caught up in, you know, like likes and followers and stuff like that, is kind of like really doesn't matter. I mean, if people are gonna fuck with you, they're gonna fuck with you regardless of, you know, how many followers and how many likes you get. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't really, social media is just like a tool for me, basically. I tell people all the time, like, people pay for billboards. Instagram's like a free billboard. So, you know, these people with these algorithms, and I'm going to post at this time and this and that. Like, I understand that, but you should probably just post as much content as you can.
Just have fun with it. And you've made a point of like showing even like the behind the scenes stuff. Like you go to the soling factories or the soling facilities, and you show people how the sausage is made. Is that part of it? Like you're kind of like, yo, like this is what you're paying for. There's craftsmanship here.
So that's the number one thing where I have a following for, because people DM me every day, nonstop. Or email me saying like it's an inspiration, because a lot of designers don't show that because they don't go there. Yeah. And that's no disrespect to anybody. It's just, I just want to take a different route. Like, I like being hands-on. I like taking pictures and posting them of like what's going on, of what people are buying and how long it takes and the process of it. Because at the end of the day, those people did not know how the shoe got made.
Yeah. And it's also like one of those, like, you're a small business owner. Mm-hmm. Like you have to know the people that are doing that for you.
Yep. And you start seeing it now, like more people are doing it now. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. Yo, like it's literally become this thing where it's like, if they don't do a stadium visit Instagram story, it's like, well, I don't know, dude. I don't know why is that a $650 hoodie? Yeah. And
you've been off the top the whole time?
Yeah, real shit. It's like Nardwar.
It's pretty good.
I did
look down one time and I'm like, there's nothing on the paper.
Dude, last week we did.
This is probably one of the best interviews. I didn't mean to cut you off. One of the best interviews off the top I've probably ever had.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. No, we did like, I had this we did Seth Rogen last week.
Oh my God. How was that?
It was great, but it was like, there were so many things where it was like, I had notes written out, like things that I had to ask and whatnot. I had on my phone and I like put the phone down where like between us more or less. And like the entire time I was like so nervous to like stop him mid-answer to like open my phone and shit. So I never opened it. I did the whole thing off the top, but I was like, the people will be the judge of it on this show. But like at the time I was like flipping out. I was like, oh man, what was my next question going to be? And he kept like saying things that lead you into it. Like he would remind me, and I was like, man, this is going swimmingly for someone that is like sweating right now. Like, but yeah, I don't know.
When does that one come out?
That's coming out this Friday.
Got you.
Yeah, so it's like this one, and then your next week, and then we got the next guys. I don't want to give too much away.
Got you.
But yeah, is there anything else that we should talk about? Anything else we should definitely cover?
I pretty much covered it.
Any sordid affairs with Kardashian sisters we should know about?
Nah.
Keep a quiet, low profile off the record. All right. Well, then usually what we like to do is we like to wrap things up by kind of having this question where it's like, look, if you could go back time machine style and talk to 13-year-old John Geiger and offer one piece of like sage advice, what would it be? And what would your wisdom be?
I probably wouldn't have got a criminal justice degree.
You have a criminal justice degree?
It's a fun fact.
Wait, like you passed the bar, or are you like?
Well, I could have kept going, but I have a criminal justice degree. Like that level, you'd have been like, you could have went to law school,
paralegal.
Yep.
Wow. So you did like the whole. Wait, where'd you go to school for that?
Point Park in Pittsburgh.
Wow. Okay, cool. So you're like, you have academia on the side. You were just like, all right, I'm gonna make sure.
I would never want to do that though.
Right, so you would go back and just say like, yo, don't waste your time with that. Just throw yourself at the shoes.
You know that the whole like, now it's so like you don't really have to go to college to do what you want.
Yeah.
I was like one of the first waves of that. Like 2009, 2010 was like that whole like, I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah, I definitely
now
was
it's
still
like fuck school.
Yeah, man. Like I feel like I went to school and halfway through it, I kind of was looking around going like, wait
now
a
you have
minute.
kids dropping out of like high school and doing well. So
do you have kids that message you asking to be your intern?
Yeah. One thing is, I live in Miami. I just don't want people in my house. And then two is just I just like doing everything myself.
Yeah.
It's getting to a point where, like I said, we're growing. So we're gonna when I move to LA, we're getting like a showroom and stuff like that. So we'll build
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, again, that's like the sign of like, that's a legitimate sign of you making it. I think it's like people being like, "Yo, dude, I need your name on my resume now."
The kids, the two kids that we have, I don't say kids, but the two guys that we have working at the Diet Starts Monday store, they're both very talented. One we use him for modeling, and he takes care of like the retail. And then Tayo, he shoots a lot of the video I just put up the other day of the shoe, my new shoe coming out. He did the video for that, so he does like creative work. But they're both super talented. So those two are, when we were gonna open, they were like, "Can we be an intern?" But we pay them, so they're pretty good.
Awesome. Yeah. So drop out of school. Don't bother.
Yeah, that's one thing I could never say. I would probably never say like just drop out of school. I'd probably say like figure it out.
Have a plan.
Yeah, have a plan.
But like that's crazy. I had no clue, dude. I had no clue.
Criminal justice degree. Yeah, I went to like 6 schools in 7 years.
Damn.
Yeah.
In like college?
No, I was like grade school and high school.
Oh, so you were bouncing around a lot. All right, word. Well, thank you so much for finding some time, man. Really, we covered a lot of ground. I think that was pretty great. And yeah, doors open anytime you want to come back for round 2. Yep. We're always here.
Know where it's at now. Just got to be super quiet in here.
Yeah, exactly. It's a library. All right, cut. Thank you.